it's funny because, I mean, oh, butterfly. It's funny because what I'm starting to notice, Andy Warhol said it best. It's like when you stop wanting something, you get it. I find that to be axiomatically true. And what I found is when I really, 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 really wanted something, when I was younger or even now, I didn't get it. And then a few years later, when I ended up getting it, I didn't care as much. I'll give a few examples in a minute. It's like when we want something, when we desire something, when we crave something, we're not ready for it. And if we actually got what we desired when we truly wanted it most, it would actually do us more harm than good, or we wouldn't be able to deal with it, or we wouldn't be able to perform best with that opportunity. It's only a few years into the future, when you've got enough experience, when you've become more mature, that you realize that you're ready for it. You end up being ready for it. But when you're ready for it, you don't want it as much, and you don't get as much dopamine from it, and you're less excited for it. So you kind of feel like underwhelmed in a way. An example would be on the podcast, I had my absolute hero, wildlife filmmaker, National Geographic explorer and presenter, Bertie Gregory, who has his own Disney Plus shows. He's from the UK. He went against the grain and has become such a successful wildlife filmmaker, like traveling the world and creating his own show. So he's awesome. And I always wanted to obviously meet him, talk to him. And he came on my podcast about a month or two ago. And I was just thinking, if he came on when I was 16, if I spoke to him when I was 16, it would have been insane. That was when I would have wanted to speak to him most. Even when I was 18, but I wouldn't have been ready for it. I would have been too nervous. I would have sucked. I would have I just wouldn't have been able to enjoy it as much. Whereas fast forward 2 or 3 years later, when I end up speaking to him, I was ready for it. But because I was ready for it, I didn't want it as much, and I didn't get as much excitement from it. Don't get me wrong, I was super, super stoked. But I just thought back to my 18-year-old self and was like, man, I was obsessed with this guy 2 years ago, and I still love him now. He's still one of my heroes. But I was super obsessed with him. But if I'd had the chance to interact with him when I was most obsessed with him and loved him most, I wouldn't have performed best. Fast forward 2 years, when I'm not as obsessed with him and matured and, a bit older, a bit more experienced, I was less nervous, but that ended up meaning I had a better experience and better podcast with him. So it's just something to think about. If you really want that girl, or if you really want, that job, or if you really want to move out of your hometown, or if you really want something, you just want an experience. If you really want it, you're probably not ready for it yet. If you really want £1 million, you're probably not ready for the £1 million yet. That's not to say don't work towards that thing, because, I've wanted things and I've worked towards them. But it's actually a good thing that we don't get what we want straight away. Think about the lottery winners. Most lottery winners end up getting going broke and getting to the level of wealth that they were before they had the lottery win. And it goes to show, if you get something too quickly, it goes like that. You crash. What comes up must come down. Newton's third law of motion. A force in one direction leads to equal opposite counter reaction in the opposite direction. And I think I just butchered that, but if if a force in one direction leads to an equal opposite force in the other direction. So if you get something too quickly, it'll be taken away from you just as quick. Or if you get something too quickly, you won't be ready for it. You'll be too nervous. And another example would be, having my own garden, and having certain birds be in the garden. So when I was 16 and 17, that was when I was most into my bird photography. I would have loved to have a garden like this, because we're opposite a larger garden and then another large garden. So loads of birds come into the garden, right? And I would have loved to be here at that age and take photos of the birds, because there'd be different species. There'd be goldcrest, there'd be cold tits. I've seen so many cool birds in this garden recently. but I don't think I would have been ready for it. And it's just something that keeps repeating in my life. Like as soon as I don't want something as much, I get it. Like the birds in the garden that I can photograph now. You know, I would have died to have this space to photograph birds a few years ago, and I'm not as fussed now. Now I'm not as fussed. I get it. It's just interesting. It's just really interesting, and I think it's going to keep happening with the show. Like once I get 100,000 subscribers, I'm like really want it now. But am I ready for it? Maybe not. You know, am I ready to be a millionaire right now? Maybe not. I know in the future I'm going to have those things. I'm going to keep working towards those things. But when you most want it, you're probably least ready for it. And if you keep working towards it, with time, you end up getting it. But because you have to give time, and time takes time, you mature in that process, and then you end up getting it a bit later than you would have wanted to. But because it's a bit later, you're a bit older, you're a bit more experienced, and you care less. You care less once you get it, which is a good thing. If you're too emotional with things, it leads to illogical and rash decisions. So by dreaming of something and that thing taking time, it's actually the best thing that can happen to you. Even if in the moment it sucks because you just want it now, you want to get it now. Why is it taking so much time? Why is it took this person 2 months to get it? Why is it taking me a year? You're not ready for it yet. But if you keep working towards it, you'll get it. But the fact that things take longer than we expect, and the fact that our dreams take a lot of time, it tests our limits and tests whether we really want this thing. And 2, it means once we do get it, we're actually ready for it. So although it sucks in the moment, it's actually better to... Am I still in the shade? God damn it. The sun keeps moving. Although it takes time, it's actually a good thing that our dreams take a long time. Definitely. If we got what we wanted straight away, we'd end up being spoiled. And have you heard of this thing called the Hedonic Treadmill? So it's the idea that we always return to our baseline happiness. So I'm sure you've been on a lovely holiday before. You're super happy, you get the massive surge of dopamine, and then after being there for 3 days, you kind of just you just feel the same as you did before. You felt the same as you did, when you were back at home. Example, I always dreamt of going to Cornwall, of escaping Kent, of being as far away as possible, like being 6 hours away from my hometown, becoming a new person, going surfing, or, going to all the coast, going to all the cool spots. And I was lucky to go to Cornwall quite a lot on holiday before moving here for university. And I was so excited to come. And the first few months were great. It was super whoa, so awesome. And then you just get into the routine, you get into the habits, and you get used to it. And I've listened to a lot of millionaires and a lot of successful people, and it seems to be the same, where they want this thing so badly, and they get the money, they get the girl, they get the Lamborghini, and getting it's great, having it's mid, having it's the same. And that's not to say you shouldn't strive for things in life, because we all want financial freedom. We all want to be in complete control of our time. But you just need to remember that external things won't fix you. You have to fix yourself internally. And the best combination is being internally sound, being internally content, whilst also striving for external things and improving your external conditions and your external life. I'd rather be content and then also succeed externally and get money and get, the nice house and get the, awesome family, then strive for money like a slave or strive for the mansion like a slave and then be miserable when I get it. But I think the majority of the time it's actually the latter which happens. You know, a billionaire gets a yacht and he's still miserable and he still wants to kill himself. And that's not to say like money doesn't like buy happiness, because money solves all your money problems, like Naval said. And you do probably feel better once you get external success, but you need to just try and be as internally content while simultaneously striving for more, striving for better, because we are humans and we need to grow as people. But that's not just externally, that's also internally. And I think a good routine, a good habit, good habits, and avoiding a bad routine and bad habits make you internally content. As an example, I try and do the same 3 things every single day, which I do. I work on what I want to work on. So I work on the podcast right now. It used to be photography, but I work on the podcast. That's a massive chunk of my day. And then I go to the gym and I read. If I do those 3 things, I've won. Like, that's my day done. And they're all leading to me becoming smarter, stronger, healthier, hopefully wealthier as well. That's the idea. And if I just do those three things every day, I know it will compound over time. And that makes me internally content with myself. And then also doing things like going to the sauna and socializing. That's super important as well. Spending time with my partner. It's just so good. And, you know, even things like eating less carbs, especially in the morning, like avoiding bread and stuff, and trying to wake up at the same time every day, early in the morning, not sleeping too late, like basic shit, but shit that no one does. Like, it's so trite to say stuff like this, but it isn't, because everyone's still struggling with it. You know, it's so cliche to say stuff like that, like, oh, fix your sleep, but it isn't. Regardless of it's cliche or not, it's almost not cliche, because you still haven't fixed your sleep, so you still need reminding.